Okay, so here I am out at the shore of the Delaware Bay, and not too far, luckily, from where I live, so it's easy to come out here several times a week if I want to, if the weather and the tide and the wind are cooperating. And one of my favorite subjects, you can see way out there on those pilings, is osprey. So there's an osprey nest there pretty much every year, and I believe it's actually the same pair because the female is banded. And the female last year was banded, so I'm pretty sure it's the same pair. There's one chick in the nest, and that's what I've been busy photographing and doing video of, and I'm using the Z8, and as you can see, I have the MB-N12 battery grip attached to it. I also have the Ninja 5 attached to it, so I can capture some video for you guys to show you what the camera settings are and what the focus system is doing while I'm using it. And then I've also got the very awesome remote grip that I absolutely love, especially when I'm doing any kind of video. So there's the setup, and I'm using, might as well go all the way around, using the Z600 f4 TC. So 600/840 millimeters. Right now you can probably see that it is on 840 millimeters. The TC is engaged, and even with the TC engaged, I still very often will use DX mode just to make sure that I'm tight, because I'm going to crop it anyway. If it's especially photos, I'm going to crop them anyway. So if I use DX, that gives me a better chance of getting a focus right on the eyeball of the bird. It also helps me, quite honestly, pay more attention to my composition. Again, since I am going to crop it at least that deep anyway. My hot card warning has gone away, but I did get a hot card warning, as I talked about in my initial review of the Z8, and it didn't take long. It did not take long. I typically am doing clips of, 30 seconds to 2 or 3 minutes tops at a time with video. I'm using a Delkin black card. Shouldn't have a heat problem, but yet I am getting heat. I'm consistently getting hot card warnings, and at one point it actually went from yellow to red. So I stopped recording video for a while, and it has now dropped the hot card warning, which is good. So it went away, but that is still for me concerning, because the Z8 is being marketed really heavily toward video production. And if you can only shoot a few minutes clips here and there, to have to worry about a hot card, that's a problem. So it's a problem for me, and I've never encountered that issue with the Z9, as I said before. So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe that's something that can be addressed. I do still have the settings set for standard for the heat warning. I haven't turned it up to high, to try and get it to ignore it. So I'm left at the factory default setting of standard. Trying to get some bird in flight shots for you guys. I had a couple requests in the comments of the first review that you guys would like to see some bird in flight performance with the Z8. So that's really why the Ninja is attached, so that I can record the focus box and you can see where the focus point is during a bird in flight session. There hasn't been a whole lot. There's a lot of cormorants hang out around here, so there's been some of those guys flying around. The ospreys haven't been flying when I'm looking. they've been eluding my gaze here as far as flight. Birds in flight tracking. Somebody had asked demonstration of this, so here you go. Picked up this cormorant, and it looked like he was going away from me, but even though I wasn't really interested, I stayed on him, let it track. Now it looks like he's coming back around, so I'm going to stick with him. You can see the focus is really staying on him. Looks like he's going to land. Does a touch and go. And now he's coming more directly at me, so now he's getting interesting. Now watch this tracking as he goes behind some... You see it lose him just there for a second and then picks him up again. So I had previously given my thoughts on the hot card warnings completely based on perception from in the field. I decided to do some simple studio tests, not exhaustive and not as in-depth as some of the other tests people have done, I just wanted to learn a bit more and quantify it and share it with you. So I removed the MBN12 battery grip for the first test. So what you see now is just the Z8 without the extended grip. Although I shoot mostly 4K, I used mostly 8K for this test because I wanted to put some strain on it, and I started out with only 8-bit. When I got to the 20-minute mark, already a lot longer than I had previously achieved without a hot card warning, I thought, okay, let's amp it up a little bit. So I switched the video mode over to ProRes RAW to tax the system a bit more. 11 minutes and 51 seconds into the ProRes RAW, I got the hot card warning. Remember, that was right after 20 minutes in 8K 8-bit recording, so about a half hour total. So I shut everything down, formatted the card, and let it all cool to room temperature for test 2. For this, I put the battery grip back on, and I settled in at 8K 10-bit for the video mode. After 8 minutes, still going strong with no heat warnings. Nearing the 10-minute mark, still going strong. I noticed the battery A was about to die, so I thought this made a nice opportunity to demonstrate that the battery grip has a hot swap feature. You'll see the picture jiggle a bit as I had the camera on a slider and not a firmer tripod, but without stopping the recording, it was simple to pop out the old battery and see it jump to battery B and then slip in a fresh one, and now it's back to battery A with full life. And finally, right around 13 minutes and 40 seconds, the hot card warning came back. So my unscientific conclusion at this point is that using the battery grip will reduce your time before the hot card warnings to about half of what you would get otherwise, which may not be that great anyway. I don't often record more than 15 minutes at a time, but I sometimes do, and I think this is a significant limitation. Now keep in mind there are a lot of variables, including the card you're using, the brand and the size, ambient temperatures, the video codecs you're using, all of that. Obviously, one of the best things about the Z8 is the autofocus system is the exact same as the Z9. So here's kind of an example. You can see me shooting stills of this osprey. Now here I'm chimping at the picture. You can see the focus box around the eye, and if I hit 100% zoom, there's the preview. And that's just a cheap JPEG preview from the back. It's a much nicer looking picture than that even, but the autofocus is incredible, and it only continues to get better and better. Well, I'm starting to lose my light. I still have probably a half hour of light before sunset, but it's a hazy day in the west, so the light is really diminishing pretty quickly. I think I'm going to wrap things up for the day. I think I got some stuff that I can use to help show you guys the focus system in action for the Z8 with birds in flight. And maybe just some cool pictures of ospreys, an osprey mom feeding her baby. You guys might enjoy that. A little bit of footage of that and some stills. And again, the hot card is still an issue for me. I'm recording right now. I'm recording in 4K 120 frames per second most of the time. I did do a little bit of 8K today. I didn't notice a difference. Maybe it did heat the card up faster, but previously without doing 8K, it still heated the card up plenty fast. So it's actually recording right now, and I've got the hot card warning again. So I've only been recording for about 30 seconds, and that's all it took for the hot card warning to come back on. So that's that's a concern for a camera that is supposed to be all of that. It is 75 degrees right now, with a bit of a breeze. There's enough of a breeze to keep the flies and gnats off of me. So, it's not a hot day, and the card should not be overheating. So, that's all I got to say about that.